So I felt it was important doing this video because there's a lot going on right now in Portugal to do with taxes, the government, and so forth. And there's a lot of talk, a lot of positive talk, but also a lot of negative talk. What I was hoping to accomplish with this video is for you watching to understand why myself, Laura, us, chose Portugal, but not only us, but also people that have chosen like expats, immigrants from different countries that are now living in Portugal, either full-time or part-time. The consensus, I think, is there's more reasons to live in Portugal, aside from just the tax reason, the benefits. And this is why I chose to do this video. Later on this video, I will also add our take on the NHR, the non-habitual resident tax, or just in general, the tax incentive. So for those of you that are here in Portugal, that have chosen Portugal to live full or part-time, you've chosen correctly. I talked to a lot of people back when we were in Portugal, people that have been there for a while, new people that have been there, let's say less than a year. They are so happy being there. They have chosen for the right reason. And just to add something here, the conversations that we have over and over again about the passion and the place that we live, the country we chose, rarely touches tax, very rarely. And if it does, it's an extra, it's usually more about these other wonderful reasons why they are there. I love having these conversations over and over again. And again, I think it's important to put it out there, people that are considering coming to Portugal or one of the other countries, that you need to just take it easy, analyze it, really look at everything. And then hopefully the tax is not the only reason. This video, I think, will touch on this subject, and it's probably the perfect time to have this discussion. Those of you that have been looking towards Portugal, sponge as much information as possible on what the country is all about. If you picture yourself living there full-time, you got to look at what does the country offer you. What would it be like to be in this part of the country or in this country compared to this other country? You got to be able to check as many boxes as possible. We're a little different because, I was born in Portugal in the Azores, and now we spend half the time there. It's part-time. We have a business there. We promote tourism. People have been dreaming for years when they get closer to retirement, maybe early retirement. It'd be nice to spend, half a year somewhere or longer. And I think you really have to look, especially nowadays. A lot of changes around in different countries, rules, governments and so forth. You have to just listen to other people that are already there. I mean, most of these people are transparent. Other YouTube channels, honest. They give their opinion based on their experience. I think that's very important. Aside from going to government sites and doing your due diligence on tax incentives, health, location, everything. So, but I do think some of these YouTube channels that exist, like ours, it helps. I mean, this has been the feedback we've been getting from our followers that we've had for a couple years now, and we have a passion for Portugal. Even if I wasn't born there, I would probably wind up there. Laura, myself, she came 12 years ago, fell in love. We're there, we're happy. We do a video once a week, and we share our experience. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it can be a little negative. Sometimes it's, us screwing up. We will be going into more depth on who we are and our plans on Pico Island in the next video. Okay, let me do it again.
Do it again.
We will be going into more depth and about who we are on the next video.
Say it again.
We will be going into more depth. We will be going into more depth on who we are and our plans on Pico Island on the next video. On the next video,
Do it again.
cut. Sometimes it's perfection, you know. So, anyways, I hope you stay through the video. Appreciate your hanging out. All right, so let's just start with these reasons. I mean, there's no specific order for this. I'm going to just start by the one that's very important to us and to everyone that's chosen Portugal or a country like Portugal. Safety, security. Is Portugal safe? Absolutely. The last rating we saw is 7th in the world out of 190 plus countries. It's a country that has a low crime rate. The key is the feedback you get from tourists, people that visit for 3 days, a week, or longer. There's very little negative feedback when it comes to their experience while in the country. And this is very important. If there was incidents happening in, day out, we would hear about it, especially nowadays with all the social media and so forth. And that's why it's rated number 7. We're on an island, the islands of the Azores, 2 hours flight from mainland Portugal. We're in the middle of the Atlantic, so I feel there's extra safety being on the islands. That's our opinion. Surrounded by water, no connection to mainlands. But the only other border Portugal has is Spain, beautiful Spain. It's a very democratic country, similar to Portugal. It's not exactly the same. They have their own identity, character. It's a very safe country as well. Quality of life. Everybody wants quality of life. We're lucky to be in Europe because Europe has other countries are the same in that respect. In my head, I can think of Italy, again, Spain, France, the northern countries, Sweden, Norway, and so on. Day to day, we want to have that feeling waking up in the morning, sun or rain, you feel good, and you're in an environment that allows you to feel good. And Portugal does that for you. Portugal is a low pollution country, okay? Pure air, like obviously when we were in the islands, almost zero pollution from our experience. The air is pure, you got the ocean's clean, and it's abundant with marine life. The whole coast of Portugal, the Atlantic coast, all the way through the Med, same thing. Just it's a very healthy area. Whatever you like to do, walk, trek, hike, lie in the sand, go to the lava coast, go to the mountains. It's all there. There's a lot of wellness areas, parks, green space. It's abundant. Here's another great reason. It's affordable. Obviously, there's so many expensive places around the planet. Some are just way out of my price league. Portugal is still affordable. There's also other affordable countries in Europe as well. And South America. Again, which one ticks the most boxes, okay? But Portugal's affordable. I can only compare it to Canada, which is where we compare it with. Things like property tax, way cheaper. Meals, things like seafood, meat, dairy products, eggs. I find it less expensive than here where we are in North America. Some people want to go out all the time. It's also affordable. Various types of restaurants. It's a very international country. You can find everything there, whatever type of food you like to eat. You can still go out and get a beer for €1. You can get a coffee for €1. You can dine out. We usually dine out. We have our own budget. We go out. Let's see if we can dine out with some wine. €50, to a total with tip. Wine. That's a good example of being affordable. Here in Canada, it's very expensive to get wine in restaurant or in the wine store. Portugal's a lot cheaper. You can literally get one of my favorite wines costs €4 or €5. So it's definitely affordable country. Portugal is known for agriculture as well. People always think of the coast, the sea, fish, but the coast, the lands, either on the islands or on the mainland. So they grow a lot of cattle and goats and pork and all this stuff. It's chickens. It's like organic. And that becomes also affordable because it's all done there. It doesn't have to be shipped in all the time. Another good reason, let's check, friendly. You want to be in a place that's friendly. People in Portugal in general are very friendly. They're very welcoming, hospitable. Okay, this is something when people travel. I'm in the travel business for years. And when people go to Portugal, come back, either any of the regions, they would always say, wow, the people are really friendly. I'm not going to say 100% of the people are the same. They're very open, friendly. There's always, any country you go to, you're going to find it. But overall, there's a label on Portugal with the people friendly. Either if you come from the Azores, from the islands of Madeira, from mainland Portugal, the north, the south, the center, It's almost like a consensus. It's just something part of the character, the makeup of Portugal. Want to go somewhere where they're friendly to you, they're welcoming. Makes that meal that you've just had at the restaurant be even tastier, right? The worst thing is to go to a place, have a beautiful meal, and they're so rude. They don't want to be there. Not good. And I think overall, you're still going to get that. Don't think you're never going to get that in Portugal. You're always going to. People are people, humans. Sometimes people are in the wrong jobs, but I think overall, count on the Portuguese people to be friendly, hospitable, and very welcoming. Peaceful. Portugal is a very peaceful country. Now, you got to remember, compact, small country, low population, lots of space, and there's 7 regions to choose from. 5 of them are on the mainland, and 2 of them are out on the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. Peace starts with us. So up here, inside. You could even find peace in the city, right? In a little cafe, having a little coffee or drink, watching the world go by. These kinds of cities or countries that you can do this and feel safe basically adds to being at peace, right? The worst thing is you're doing this exact same thing in a country where there's just chaos. If I'm not having a peaceful day, a lot of times it's nothing to do with the country. It's to do more with the thinking. And sometimes we create our own unrest. You know how that goes. You guys know that, right? So it always helps be in the right environment that you have peace around you. And Portugal definitely has that. So another thing that adds to peace for us, myself and Laura, and I think a lot of the expats that are now living in Portugal, in our case, they're in the Azores, the islands. We definitely in the Azores have the countryside. And we have the ocean, the coast. Right? In some places you have to choose one or the other. Here we have both. If that's what you would like to have, you can. Even on the mainland, if you're closer to the coast, some of the way the country is made, you could have that countryside, and there's the Atlantic Ocean. It just adds to the peace. And this kind of falls into that category to the everyday, just to our lifestyle where we just want to be sometimes with people, sometimes we want to be with just ourselves. But either way, we can choose 20 minutes. I'm in the countryside or in the coast. Portugal is very compact. If you look at the mainland, it's 800 kilometers by 200. That's pretty much it. It's not a huge country. So there's other similar countries in Europe that are around the same side. I think Holland is, if I'm not mistaken. Even the population of Portugal is 10 million. That includes the mainland and the 6th and 7th region of the Azores and Madeira. Every 200 kilometers on the mainland, it changes. So you have these regions that are unique within themselves, obviously tied together by what we've mentioned earlier, the friendliness of the people, the quality of life, the cost of living. It's all there in these places. But then the landscape, it just changes. You drive an hour, wow, it's a little different. You never get bored of the scenic, we don't at least, of the beauty of the landscape change that could happen quickly, even from day to day, depending on the weather. And I think Portugal allows this and has that, because you get in that car, if you wanted to go from one tip of Portugal mainland to the other, I think you can do it 9 hours. I don't know, from one tip. I think I did Porto to Lisbon, 3 hours. I did once Lisbon to the Algarve, 3 hours. So maybe, no, well done, maybe 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours. All right. You guys put it in the comments. Some of you that have been to Portugal that did this drive, can we do that? Can we do from tip to tip 8 hours of Portugal? That would be nice to know. And then you have 200, well, obviously, a couple hours. I think you can go from the ocean, the Atlantic, all the way to the Spanish border. Maybe not. You let me know, okay? But that's important, having a country that's compact. Well, I'm not saying that a country that's 3 times the size, like Spain and France, it's not beautiful. They have so much similar landscapes and so forth. But being in a smaller country, for us, and then being on an island even smaller, it's almost like it's your own place, kind of thing, your backyard. So that's just the way we see it. I don't know if some of you do. Make a comment. Let me know how you feel, wherever you're living in Portugal or in the Azores, or in the mainland Portugal and the Azores. It's good to see how you're living, what you're thinking, how long you've been there. We love having these comments, and it's educational for all of us, not only ourselves, but people that watch the channel. We do have the space. Because of the low population, you always have excess space. You just get the feeling that you are by yourself. And let's say when you're away from the cities, okay? If you're more in the countryside or the away from the cities near the coast, you're gonna always feel that. You don't always on top of each other, right? So even on the islands where we are, same thing. Our island is 400 square kilometers, Pico Island, and it's the size of Barbados. I've mentioned this before in other videos. Barbados is almost 300,000 people. We have 15,000, 1.5. So it just gives you an example of the space. If you're in the more into the mainland Portugal, more into the mountains, more into the interior, it's the same thing. Little village along the way, and with low population, right? So I just think this kind of lends itself for to be in a country where you don't feel crowded, and I think that's important to a lot of people. Having these 7 regions of Portugal is a bonus, okay? Just like all countries have different regions or provinces, however they call them. But in the case of Portugal, I think there's any of these regions will be suited either to different lifestyles or budgets. You pick and choose, right? As you know, if to be closer to the city, more expensive, but because you can venture out either out into the Atlantic Ocean, to the islands, or on the mainland interior, more north. I think you still have choice to fit your wallet, to suit your taste. It's there. Portugal has that. The location of Portugal, logistically, Portugal. Let's check that box. Well, Portugal is they have a tagline, a slogan, where the Atlantic meets Europe. That's Portugal, westernmost country of Europe. If you're actually going to the Azores, the actual most westerly point of Europe is the island called Corvo. 400 people live there. It's very small, right next to the island of Flores, the Azores, right? But that's the most westerly point of Europe before you get to North America. It's right out there. So it's the location logistically, just to give you an example. If you're in Portugal mainland from Lisbon, you can fly pretty much anywhere in Europe within a couple hours. So if you like to travel, that's by plane. If you want to go by train, by bus, driving, it's all at just get in your mode of transportation and just go. Where we are in the Azores, same thing. I mean, the Azores to mainland Portugal is a couple hours flight. We fly from Toronto, for example, into the islands of the Ponta Delgado, which is San Miguel, the biggest island of the Azores. Takes 5 hours, 5.5. Come from Boston, 4.5. So it's easy accessible. We fly direct. And sometimes a lot of people look in the map, they see it's different. They see, oh, it's remote, it's going to take hours. It's not the case. It's a lot easier to travel. It's a lot quicker. And, it's a perfect logistic point for us. If we're even on an island, every day we can fly into mainland. We're there in a couple hours. We can, visit family, or we can do other things in Europe, catch a cruise, go to Italy, a lot of my cousins will fly to a soccer game in Lisbon. This is another bonus, another reason. Yes, accessible. I love to travel. I want to see places, especially Europe. And then Portugal is a perfect country for that. So if you guys are still watching this and giving you all these reasons, checking all these boxes, I'm obviously promoting Portugal. I'm in front. I'm saying come to Portugal, full-time, part-time, or to visit. Absolutely. Because these are the reasons. It's not like I'm making them up. You can talk to most people that go there. This is what they're going to tell you. People that are happy there, people that go on a trip and come back, they're there, they're visiting, and they're experiencing this exact same thing, right? Obviously, if you're living there full of part-time, semi-retired, retired, 3 months out of the year, whatever the case may be, you're there longer. You're going to feel this even more, okay? And we definitely do. And again, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be in a country like Portugal, and I'm definitely plugging it. I'm one of Laura and myself, if we can do anything with this channel, and the reason why we even have the channel from the very beginning is to share our experience, positive or negative. Obviously, it's positive most of the time, and the country itself, just what it offers you, the beauty of this country. I'm not even touching on the beauty. I definitely be on that list, but I'd be here for a whole hour. The only way to really experience the beauty of all of Portugal, including where we are in the Azores, is to visit and stay as long as you can, that your schedule allows, because I'm telling you, it's a beautiful country. And I've traveled quite a bit. I have so many countries stand out in my mind through my travels. Obviously, Italy is one of the top, Greece. I had France, Spain, I did a lot of Europe, even the Caribbean. I have so many favorites, Hawaii, that kind of thing. And speaking of Hawaii, the Azores, for example, where we are, they say it's the Hawaii of the Atlantic. It's a combination of New Zealand, Iceland, Hawaii. I think the Azores have all that, and throw Madeira into the mix. Madeira is closer to Africa, and a lot of the same characteristics. The temperature there is a little warmer, but if you love nature, can't go wrong with the Azores. Again, that's a little plug for the Azores because that's where we are. I have to, and our channel says our journey on Pico Island. That's the island we're on. Check other of our videos that touches mostly on the Azores, of course, especially Pico Island if you want to learn more about it. But I'm here to plug Portugal as a country. I'm here to plug this wonderful country, not a perfect country, but a country that checks a lot of these boxes. And this is why I wanted to do this video in a time where there's a little turbulence going on, especially with the government and the taxes. And speaking of the government, it's a democratic government. The dictatorship ended in 1975, I believe, April 25th, 1975. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Okay, we've obviously done a lot of positive there. Check, 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 check. Now, this is, in our opinion, why most people would choose to go to a country. Because they're going to be there day in, day out. You need to be in a place that's going to give you something, that's going to fulfill your experience there, your life, basically. But the elephant in the room is the tax incentive. There are some people, I actually thought this number is probably even higher, but I don't know. I don't think it is because most of the conversations I'm having are people that did not choose Portugal for a tax incentive. Everything else didn't matter. In other words, NHR, non-habitual resident tax. This is the tax that exists. And a lot of people decide to, go to apply for it. It helps you with the tax, keeps it low. And yes, in our minds, it could be a bonus. And that's the way we look at it. And some of the people we talk to, they say, yeah, it's a bonus. But some people do choose it. They'll choose a country just for that one reason, wherever that country may be. It could be a country that only has that one box checked. Great tax incentive, 0 to low. Okay. It's hard to compute in my head, or Laura's head, and some of us that don't see it that way. But that's, everyone's different. And I don't want to bash anybody. If that's the reason, so be it. And those are the people that might not like this video because I'm saying to them that I believe in order to be fulfilled as a human, you need more reasons than just monetary reasons. I guess that's really, to say it in a nice, mild way, if you do choose a country for just the low tax, I don't even think you'd be looking at Portugal because there's other places that would have better tax. Some of them have 0 tax. They don't have too much else going on. Maybe some heat, some white sands, but the rest of it, be careful. Behind the door, open that door, spend a little bit of time in there. You're not going to be happy. It's going to be, because again, it has to go back to the first reason why anyone would want to live in a place. You need to have this to be really, to start out in safety, security. I think you got to put that. If there's a place that has the tax and has no safety, I'd be afraid for you. Okay. So we're not saying that tax incentive is negative. We're saying that's another positive. The negative part, I guess what we're trying to say is if you only choose the country just because of the tax reason, we feel it's sort of negative. Some people will choose it just for the tax. And the tax is a bonus. This tax incentive that a lot of people, the people that chose just for this reason, they're not going to be happy, especially if their 10 years are ending and they're not going to, there's not going to be any more of this tax incentive. They might come up with other ones. They definitely, if they're only there for this reason, they're going to be leaving for sure. They're going to be looking for another country. The other ones are staying. They're not there for that reason, like we mentioned. They're there for those wonderful reasons. Those other reasons that make our day-to-day fulfilling, right? Happy, healthy, all these things are so important to us. You want to just not wake up in the morning always nervous and things. Sometimes we create that, that's true. But again, it comes down to the environment and the place, the character, the personalities of the country. For all these other reasons, you got to look at Portugal. Definitely have it in the top list. So there's a lot happening with this tax. Again, we did 2 videos just before this one because, again, there's some, the government's going through a transition. We're going to end this tax incentive, and then the new government might go back. We don't really know, to be honest with you. Keep an eye out, especially for those of you that are only interested in Portugal with this tax. It's important for you. If they keep this tax, great, and you'll come. You're already probably looking at Portugal, made the decision. I love the tax, and you might also like these other things, right? But without the tax, you wouldn't come. For those of you that have the tax, that applied and look at it as a bonus, it just adds to the whole experience. I hope they do keep it, and if they don't, they come up with a new one. But check the videos. It's just a little bit of information. When as the information was coming out, the news, we kind of said, look, let's just do this. And yeah, I think we're going to end it here. I don't think I have much more to say. Thanks for staying till the end if you have. It was a long one, and I hope to see you in Portugal, I guess is all I'm trying to say. I hope you choose wisely. Again, there's so many other countries. I can only speak with a country that we're involved in, that we have our experience, that we choose to be in. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like this video. If you haven't subscribed and you think this channel is going to be good for you, please subscribe. And again, send these comments in. I always like to hear how people are feeling about their own situation with the country, right now, either positive or negative. I'm just going to end by saying we're going to be going back in a couple of weeks, and we're going to be doing back to even more of the local videos, the scenic videos, and videos about the island. We're probably going to be going to mainland, so we'll get some videos on the mainland. So that's it. I hope you like this video, and see you on the next video.